You have been trusting the wrong men your entire life. Not enemies, not rivals, allies. The ones close enough to touch your shoulder, hear your plans, and smile while measuring your limits. Every alliance you protect quietly drains your power, not through attack, but through access. They don't block your rise, they slow it. They don't overthrow you, they normalize your restraint. Machiavelli warned that rulers don't fall when walls break, they fall when decay becomes familiar, when hesitation replaces decisiveness, when harmony is chosen over dominance. Weak rulers fear conflict, strong ones fear contamination, because power doesn't disappear overnight, it leaks through trusted hands. If the people around you benefit from your caution, your fall has already started. Number 1. The lie of brotherhood. You were trained to believe allies equal protection, that numbers create safety, that shared history is armor. This belief did not come from wisdom, it came from fear. Men cling to allies because isolation terrifies them. They mistake familiarity for loyalty and access for allegiance. Machiavelli saw this clearly. Those closest to you are not bound by virtue, but by advantage. The moment that advantage shifts, so does their posture. An ally is not dangerous because he hates you. He is dangerous because he knows you. He knows your routines, your weaknesses, your habits under pressure. He hears your plans before they are strong. He sees your doubts before you hide them. Proximity creates entitlement. Entitlement breeds resentment. Resentment always looks for an opening. Look at history. Princes were not undone by enemies at the gate. They were undone by men at the table, the ones who smiled, the ones who advised caution, the ones who meant well. Machiavelli warned that mercy toward internal threats is cruelty toward yourself. In modern terms, this plays out quietly. The coworker who supports you but leaks your intentions. The friend who jokes about you in rooms you don't enter. The ally who benefits from your momentum but never risks anything for it. They don't attack, they slow you, they soften you, they dilute you. This chapter is not asking you to hate people. That would still give them importance. It is forcing you to confront a harder truth. Most men do not deserve proximity to power. Brotherhood is not a moral good. It is a strategic choice, and you have been choosing poorly. Number 2. Machiavelli's law of contaminated proximity. Power is not destroyed by opposition, it is eroded by access. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. The closer a man stands to you, the more damage he can do with less effort. Human nature does not change with titles or time. When men are near power, 3 instincts activate: comparison, envy, and entitlement. They measure themselves against you. They resent the gap. Then they justify taking what they believe should be theirs. This is not malice. It is biology wearing a suit. Machiavelli warned that familiarity breeds contempt, not loyalty. Distance preserves authority. Proximity dissolves it. When allies feel equal, they stop obeying. When they stop obeying, they start advising. Advice is not neutral. Advice is a soft attempt to steer power without responsibility. The psychological mechanism is simple. Access creates illusion. Allies begin to believe they understand your position better than you do. They mistake observation for competence. They confuse exposure with ownership. From there, sabotage feels righteous. They tell themselves they are balancing you, protecting you, saving you from yourself. This is why Machiavelli favored fear over love, not cruelty but clarity. Fear maintains structure. Love invites testing. Allies who feel safe around you will test you. Always. Silence, distance, and unpredictability interrupt this instinct. In modern environments, this law operates invisibly. Business partners who second-guess, friends who challenge your decisions publicly, allies who grow comfortable enough to correct you. Each moment chips away at the frame. Power requires clean lines, clear hierarchy, controlled access. The moment you allow proximity without consequence, you surrender leverage. And once leverage is gone, betrayal is only a matter of timing. Number 3. The useful fool versus the sovereign. Every power structure produces two types of men. One is consumed by the need to belong. The other is defined by the ability to stand alone. One keeps allies to feel secure. The other keeps distance to remain sovereign. The useful fool believes relationships are assets by default. He collects people the way insecure men collect insurance policies. He tolerates disrespect to preserve harmony. He explains himself to maintain approval. His alliances are emotional, not strategic. That is why they fail him. The sovereign operates differently. He does not seek loyalty. He observes behavior. He does not reward history. He rewards alignment. He understands that most men want proximity to power without the burden of responsibility. So he controls access like a weapon. Watch how the useful fool behaves under pressure. He consults, he delays, he seeks consensus from the very people who benefit from his hesitation. This makes him predictable. Predictability invites manipulation. Now observe the sovereign. He moves quietly. He decides alone. He informs, not explains. His circle is small, fluid, and replaceable. Those near him understand one rule: access is conditional. This contrast appears everywhere. In the workplace, the fool keeps underperformers out of guilt. The sovereign replaces them without announcement. In friendships, the fool tolerates mockery. The sovereign withdraws attention. In relationships, the fool negotiates respect. The sovereign removes himself from disrespect entirely. The discomfort you feel now is the point. If you recognized yourself in the first archetype, understand this: awareness is the last moment of weakness. After this, continuation becomes a choice. You are not judged by your enemies. You are exposed by the allies you keep. Number 4. How allies poison power in real life. Toxic allies do not announce themselves. They corrode you quietly through routine contact and unchecked access. Their damage is subtle, which is why it lasts. In the workplace, this looks like the colleague who knows your ambitions before they are finalized. He nods in agreement, then reframes your ideas as reckless when you're absent. He leaks just enough information to keep you visible, but never formidable. You don't lose your position, you lose momentum. That is how power is bled without conflict. In friendships, the poison is familiarity. The ally who jokes at your expense. The one who reminds others who you used to be. He anchors you to an outdated version of yourself because your evolution threatens his hierarchy. Every laugh at your expense is a status correction. You tolerate it because you call it history. In relationships, the damage is even cleaner. The ally who questions your decisions under the mask of concern. "Are you sure?" sounds harmless. Repeated often enough, it trains hesitation. Hesitation kills authority faster than failure. Psychologically, this works because the human brain prioritizes social harmony over dominance unless trained otherwise. Allies exploit this instinct. They never attack directly. They introduce doubt. Doubt fractures decisiveness. Decisiveness is the core of power. Machiavelli warned that internal decay precedes collapse. Kingdoms fall long before walls are breached. The same is true for men. If your environment contains people who benefit from your restraint, your fall is already in motion. The danger is not dramatic. That's why most men miss it. By the time you feel weakened, the source has already normalized itself. Number 5. The ruthless pruning protocol. Power does not negotiate with infection. It removes it, quietly, permanently. The mistake weak men make is confrontation. They announce exits. They explain decisions. They seek closure. This is still emotional dependence. Machiavelli never advised drama. He advised efficiency. The first move is distance, not arguments, not accusations. Distance. Reduce access without explanation. Stop volunteering information. Stop sharing intent. Silence is the first filter. Watch who reacts. Reaction exposes dependence. The second move is replacement. Nature hates vacuums, so does power. You do not cut people off and stand still. You shift environments, new rooms, new rhythms, new standards. Toxic allies dissolve when they are no longer relevant. The third move is consistency. One exception destroys the frame. If you re-engage out of nostalgia, you teach them your boundaries are temporary. Sovereigns do not revisit executed decisions. This applies everywhere. In business, roles are redefined or eliminated. In friendships, availability is withdrawn. In relationships, attention is the currency, and it is revoked without ceremony. Machiavelli understood that cruelty, when necessary, must be swift and contained. Lingering mercy multiplies damage. Clean cuts heal. Messy ones rot. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming precise. Precision is what separates rulers from servants. Comment below. I choose clean power. Number 6. The death of the loyal self. This is where most men fail. Not because the strategy is unclear, but because identity resists execution. The loyal version of you believes endurance is virtue, that staying proves character, that being the one who never leaves gives you moral leverage. This identity feels noble. It is also the source of your captivity. Machiavelli was explicit. A ruler who clings to virtue when it endangers power will lose both. Loyalty, when unreciprocated or exploited, is not strength. It is submission wearing honor as camouflage. The old you must die. The man who explains absences. The man who feels guilty for withdrawing. The man who confuses being needed with being respected. This identity cannot coexist with sovereignty. In its place emerges a different figure, the ghost, the sovereign, the man whose presence is optional, not guaranteed. He does not threaten departure, he simply becomes unavailable. He does not announce transformation, he lets silence do the work. This new identity is unsettling to others because it removes predictability. You are no longer anchored by habit or obligation. You move when alignment exists. You disappear when it doesn't. This is not cruelty. It is self-preservation elevated to strategy. You will feel a moment of emptiness. That is not loss. That is space. Power requires space to maneuver. Most men never cross this threshold. They return to familiar chains and call it loyalty. You don't. You are no longer the dependable one. You are the unreachable one. Number 7. Final separation test. This is the final filter. Most men will fail it without realizing they failed. They will hear everything you've heard and do nothing. They will justify their hesitation with excuses dressed as principles. It's complicated. They've been with me too long. I'll handle it later. Machiavelli had a word for this delay: weakness. Power is proven only through separation. If you remove the wrong allies, your life will grow quieter. Fewer messages, fewer invitations, less noise. That silence is not punishment, it is confirmation. Only those who benefited from your availability will notice your absence. Here is the test. Look at your circle and ask one question: who gains when I hesitate? Anyone who benefits from your delay is not aligned with your rise. They are invested in your stagnation. Most men choose comfort over control. They keep familiar faces and accept limited lives. They call it loyalty. History calls it irrelevance. If you have made it this far, you are not most men. You are standing at the edge where identity becomes irreversible. Step back and nothing changes. Step forward and access to you becomes earned. Comment below: I am no longer accessible to weakness. Subscribe to NoirMachiavelli if you choose the path of power.